Welcome to Cultura Latina. Today we're giving you one of our first specials on Latin fashion design. We'll get to know a bit more about the Latin approach of different trends with local colors, textures, and materials. Take a look. The polleras are a traditional Peruvian skirt with a unique way to illustrate culture in their design. Dating back when there was no photography but only art as a registry of their identity. Take a look.
Polleras are a traditional item of clothing with a long history in Peru. Peruvians use them in their culture, incorporating illustrations into their design. It began as a way to visually represent something people wanted to remember before photography existed, and Peruvians put those pictures on their polleras.
After the Tupac Amaru rebellion, Spaniards decided that the typical clothing, the unku, would no longer be allowed. The unku had embroidery that contained certain information. That was eliminated. The men then had to use pants and women's skirts called polleras. But in Peru, a long skirt doesn't work because they were farm workers and from rural places, and the skirt would get dirty and wear out. So they decided to shorten it and to maintain the traditions of the unku that were embroidered. They would embroider each pollera, personalizing it.
They're called polleras because they have the shape of a chicken cage, and small children hide inside of them, but they're always intricate and well adorned.
I became aware of the value of the skirts. They are clothing with a lot of detail because they take about a month to make and they are not cheap. They are very expensive because they are handmade.
Carla has released her 4th collection of polleras. This collection has a personal meaning for her, as it portrays events from her life and relationships with family members.
I have decided to explore what my grandmothers mean to me. My grandmothers from both sides had very intense experiences. They are very strong women and brave. My collection is called Inheritance, and this is what inheritance is all about. Not only does one inherit physical things, but also strength, love, and caring for nature, as they have taught me. They were women from the fields, and they were never ashamed of what they were wearing. And for me, it is important to highlight that. To go back to the past, to be able to present this to you all, and because it is something that the youth should know about their roots.
Carla believes that art should not only be something to appreciate subjectively, but it also should be something that people can wear and enjoy.
Over the past decade, Mexican designers and small businesses have incorporated the labor of artisan embroidery and fabric as a way to preserve their unique identity through fashion. Take a look.
Soy diseñadora textil y de moda.
I'm a fashion and textile designer and have had my brand for 10 years. I work with Indigenous communities trying to fuse the community's traditional embroidered works with contemporary design. Mexico is a country with many traditional crafts and a lot of knowledge of textile production techniques. Textiles are undervalued. These are women who have a very specialized knowledge but have no market to sell their products.
The objective is to rescue craftsmanship so that the artisans can live in a dignified manner through their work.
People who come to work with Indigenous communities do not always do so ethically or equitably. The support we give these women means that they can continue their traditional trades and can earn an income that allows them to live off their trade so that their crafts do not disappear. It means that these highly skilled and specialized women who have spent years practicing their art do not have to work in sweatshops or work as domestic servants in the city. Fábrica Social was born partially so that these women can continue to use and develop their skills and stay in their communities and continue their way of life.
Y puedan quedarse a vivir en sus comunidades y seguir llevando su estilo de vida.
We operate as a hybrid company, and through the organization, we train people in the entire production and creative process. We are a traveling design, administration, and business school, sharing the tools, and all our work is fair trade.
We are not philanthropic, we are a company, and as such, the women we work with are not poor indigenous women or living in extreme poverty. The women we work with are specialized and very professional in the arts they produce.
We spend time with them and live with them in their community and propose our projects to them, make it clear we don't want to ostracize them from the work they traditionally do.
Fábrica Social's designs are based on the aesthetic and cultural diversity that we have here in Mexico. We work in a collaborative model, which means that some of the women are the designers as well. Some do product development, but everyone is involved in developing the finished textile.
They can start designing new things for a slightly more contemporary, urban, national, and international market.
They produce a panorama, a tapestry with overlapping techniques, colours and themes. What is certain is that none of the symbols that appear, either in indigenous or mestizo textiles, are there coincidentally. They all have symbolic value, and this also means being able to work respectfully and ethically, and for us to be informed which symbols we can use and which they consider sacred and thus we shouldn't use.
The process allows communities who have an extensive catalogue of iconography to recover their traditions, while others have to start creating their own symbols, or just have a smaller catalogue and start innovating.
What we want out of the process is that the products are contextualised. It's not taking random figures and making a series of garments that do not get across the knowledge or cultures they come from.
That's the big challenge right now. There has been a tendency to use traditional techniques in fashion, and it's okay that we're now looking at those processes, perhaps because we are tired of those industrial processes and of hearing the terrible news like Bangladesh. This is fine, but be careful that we do not create assembly lines of making traditional fabrics, because this intervenes with and potentially destroys ways of life.
To be able to give a message of value, to acknowledge the value of these communities, these traditions, as well as sustainable measure, helping craftsmen or craftswomen stay in the places where they've lived their entire lives, therefore they don't have to migrate looking for work, so that they continue to take care of the countryside, their land, their families, their animals, family values get preserved and families stay together.
Thanks for watching. Next week we'll be back with more Latin American culture. See you then.